All right, so today, this video, we're going to talk about some copywriting basics. Now, copywriting. What the hell is copywriting? Well, copywriting, the purpose of copywriting basically is to drive some form of action, a desired action. So copywriting drives action. It's the words that are weaved together in a certain way that evoke a certain emotional and mental response that get people to do something. Whether that something is opting into a page, buying something, or whatever the case may be, click or whatever, share, it could be any number of things. But the main thing is that copywriting is writing that is done to drive action. So, what are some copywriting basics? The first purpose of copywriting, the first purpose of writing copy is you're going to create a narrative. Now, what do I mean by a narrative? So, there's basically going to be three main components of your copy. You're going to hook them, you're going to tell them a story, and you're going to throw them some kind of a pitch or some kind. What is your hook? The hook is what grabs attention. The average attention span of most people is around, 3 to 5 seconds. It's really short. It used to be a lot longer. The average attention span, I think 40 or 50 years ago, was like 15 minutes. So, you didn't have to grab people as fast, but now you have to be able to hook people very quickly. 3 to 5 seconds is a glance. Once you've hooked them, then you need to tell them a story. If you're trying to get them to buy a product or opt in, you need to be able to connect two things: yourself and your product, or whatever you're giving them. Whether if you're opting in, it's a free gift, or whether you're selling something, it's a product of some kind. But you need to be able to connect yourself as the storyteller and the product or whatever you're promoting to the reader. They need to feel as though you and what you are positioning is connected to them, is there just for them, basically. And then, of course, your pitch is basically where you get them to take action. So, in the pitch, most people struggle with this part. A lot of people can get this down, a lot of people can get this down, but the pitch is where a lot of people falter, because that's where you're asking for the sale. That's where you're saying, hey, look, I want you to buy this, or I want you to opt into this. And a lot of people, they kind of stumble here because they put themselves, they think back to the used car dealer situation. They're on a used car dealer. If you've ever had this experience, you're on a car dealership lot or whatever like that, and you have some salesman who comes in, and he's like, here, buy this car, here's a contract, you're gonna get all this cool stuff. This car is, and I'm gonna do a terrible job of drawing this car, but this car is exactly what you need. You have to buy this car. If you drive off the lot without this car, you are going to be miserable. Looks like an elephant with wheels. But and they do what's called a hard sell. People are used to that type of selling. That's what they when they hear the word selling or sale, they think used car dealership. They think the hard sell. But when it comes to this type of selling, all you're doing is you're telling them to take action. You're basically saying, hey, look, you've stuck around, you're interested, obviously, or you wouldn't have stuck around. You've listened to my story, you're interested, I can tell, or you wouldn't still be here. Just get the product, just take action. Click the button. Click the button to buy the product or to opt in. And then, you might even take it a step further and say there's no risk. It's 100% guaranteed. And you might even take it a step further and say, look, here's a testimonial of someone, and they're super happy with this. So the part of the pitch is where you basically take the interest that you have built through your hook and your story, and then you tell them to take action on that interest. So that's what basically the number one priority of copywriting is you're creating a narrative that grabs their attention, that builds their interest, and then gets them to take some kind of action. So that is kind of the one fundamental, the first aspect of copywriting is there. So, when it comes to copywriting, there are all kinds of different types of copywriting, and it's used in a bunch of different ways. So what kinds of ways do marketers, or basically anybody, we're going to stick with internet marketers, use copy? So types of copy, there's a number of different ways it's used. The first, one of the main ones, going to be your action pages. What are these action pages we speak of? Well, these are going to be pages like your opt-in pages. It could be your sales pages. It could be webinar registration pages. So copy is used on these action pages. Copy is used in your autoresponders, in your emails. So when you're writing your emails to your list, you need to be able to, first off, what is your hook in your email? Yeah, your hook is your subject line. That's how you grab their attention. Your story is going to be your body of your email, and then of course you're going to have some kind of call to action or a pitch inside of the email. Click this link, or check this page out, or whatever the case may be. So copy is used in your emails. It's used in all kinds of different things. Your video sales letters. How is copy used in video sales letters? Well, before you create a video sales letter, you're actually going to write out a script for it. Your script is going to incorporate principles of copywriting into it, and you're going to use those. The video is just more of an interactive form of copy, but you're still going to incorporate copywriting into your video. You're going to write out your script. You're going to incorporate copywriting principles into your script, and then you're simply just making a more interactive version of that sales letter, that script. And then, of course, any other type of promotional content, like a webinar or whatever. It also can be used in your social media. It's used in blogs. I could write out a list that could go on forever, but you use it in a number of different places. So keep in mind that copy in any part of an internet marketing anything, whether it's a webinar or a blog, or whether it's a sales letter or an opt-in page, or even your emails, you are going to be using copy in all of those things, because the purpose of copy is to drive action. That's what you want your people to do. You want your subscribers on your list to take action. You want people on your opt-in page to take action. You want people in blogs to take some kind of action. People say, well, blog's just an informational tool. Yes, it can be just an informational tool, but you can leverage your blogs to provide content, and then you can weave copywriting into that content, and then say, for more info or to learn more or whatever, click a link. Or you'll have a pop-up that invites them to opt in, and you get a full report or something. So maybe your blog gives them like a general, just some of the general knowledge, and then you're like, hey, look, you like this information. How would you like the full scoop? Opt in here, and I'll give you the full enchilada on this one. I see a lot of blogs that do this. They're very effective. They've worked on me many times. I'll be reading a blog and be like, oh, this is really good information. I'll even bookmark it, and then they'll have a pop-up that says, hey, you want the whole story? Boom. Opt in and you get it. That's good copy, even though it's really small. Their blog was written to pre-frame the offer that was coming, which was the pop-up. The pop-up is a real small box. It says free report here, grab this. It's not a whole lot of copy in that, but it still, even the pop-up box still has principles of copy. If you think about a pop-up box, most of them are real small, but they'll have some kind of a headline here. They'll have a little bit of body. They might have a picture of the product or whatever. And they'll have some kind of, email, fill your email here. And they'll have a button. This is H1, by the way, not high, for a headline. They're real small. They're miniature opt-in pages, basically. But they still have the principles of copy. They still have the hook. They still have the story. The story is going to be a background on it's going to be a description of the product, and the image of the product is part of that story. So make sure you have an appropriate image. And then your button is your call to action. Still the principles of copy. Your pitch, in other words. Still going to have it still incorporates the principles of copy, even in something as small as a pop-up button, or excuse me, a pop-up. So, copy. Now, let's talk about some components of copy that you need to be aware of. Number one, I like to title my pages. Components. Number one is you need to have some kind of an intro, typically. Now, with shorter pages like opt-in pages, your intros are going to be pretty brief. Basically, the purpose of the intro is explaining why the user should stick around, or why the user needs to get the product, or why they need to take the action that you're going to ask them to take. In other words, you need to explain what's in it for the user. Why do they need to do this? Why should they be checking out this page? Part of the introduction, the first part of it, is to get attention. And typically when we say get attention, we're talking about a headline. Now, there are a lot of different theories on how long a headline should be, the types of words it should have, things like that. But generally speaking, your headline needs to be, first off, appropriate to the audience. And what it needs to do is, ideally, it needs to address a problem or pain point or pain point. I did it again. I can't believe this. See, I don't edit this stuff because I like to have the interactive blooper reel within the videos. Let's see if I can do this right this time. Pain point. You get the idea. It needs to have the pain point in there, or it needs to create some kind of intrigue or interest that's appropriate to that audience. And so that's how you would gain their attention. So, a headline might be, 7. You know what? That's boring. Let's stick with 7. And in copywriting, there's a lot of reasons on why you use these odd numbers. 7 secret. Okay, intrigue. Methods of making money from home. So we already know who our audience is. It's the people that are interested in making money from home. We're creating intrigue. We're using the magical odd numbers. And we're telling them, what the secret, what is the secret? There's some kind of method. So we're introducing people to what the page is about, and we're right-sizing it to our audience. And we're making sure that it's not too long, because you don't want to have a headline that does this. So, 7 secret methods of earning money by the use of such and such and such, from home in 30 days, just like this guy, a headline that goes on and on and on and on, because here's what's going to happen. First off, in a lot of places where this headline might be, might appear, like for instance, let's say you are running traffic from like Google or something like that, this headline, the long headline is going to get truncated, which means it's going to get cut off. Plus no one's going to sit there. Remember, 3 to 5 seconds is your time that you have to sell this person on sticking around. So here, 7 secret methods of making money from home. That took me about 3 to 5 seconds to read, right? Even if you're a slow reader, you could probably read that in about 5. But if you have a headline that just goes on for days, that person's going to be like, nope, I'm gone. This took me forever to read. I lost interest. I don't even know. And the longer the headline is, then the more likely they're going to get confused. They're like, what is this person talking about? I don't even know what this means. So keep that in mind when it comes to your headlines. Is you don't want them to be too long. You don't want them to be so short that they can't tell what it's about. But you want to find that sweet spot. You want to create intrigue and interest. You want to address a pain point or something that is meaningful to that particular audience. And you want to make sure that it's not bland. If you just went if you just went 7 methods of making money. Okay, first off, that's really short. I have seen headlines that short, but they usually do a better job. But that falls on its face. It's really bland. It's really general. It's really vague. People are going to be like, okay, 7 methods of making money. Step 1, get a job. Step 2, people can make, okay, click, I'm gone. You want to make sure that it does a sufficient job of gaining interest, keeping interest, and getting people to be intrigued so they stick around. Now, and now for step 2, the story. So with your story, what are some components of the story? Main thing about the story is you want to connect, like I mentioned before, you, the promoter, the marketer, and the product or service to the reader. You want to build rapport with that person. If you've done your job, you've done your research, your headline addresses your target market, but your story is where you go even further and say, look, I know that, let's say we're going with the 7 ways. So we have the 7 secret methods of earning money from home. That's our headline. Okay? We've already addressed who our audience is, people that are interested in making money from home. So what are some pain points that we identify with this? First off, people that are first starting out with this, let's say that these people are completely new to this. They're going to get confused by all the information. They're going to get overwhelmed. They're not going to know where to start. This is a good point right here to keep in mind. What we're looking at are pain points right now. Okay? So they're confused. They're overwhelmed. What are some hopes or dreams that they have? They want to quit their 9 to 5. And even go further into that. Why do they want to quit their 9 to 5? More time with the family. Or, travel or, whatever. Okay? They want to do something. They don't just want to start earning money from home, for some arbitrary reason. Typically, there is a deep purpose. Your job as a marketer is to be able to understand what some of those deeper purposes are and connect you and your product to those purposes. Address how it solves the problems and how it will help them achieve their dreams. Okay? So that is, that's that one. Then you would have a few other bullet points. And the reason we're doing bullets is because when you're doing your story, you can do bulleted lists. Bulleted lists are great because it makes it very easy to read. This amazing, product will, avoid confusion and overwhelm and give you a clear-cut path forward. Addresses the pain point. Help you finally leave that 9 to 5 job that's holding you back from living the life you want and spending more time with your family. Bullet number 2. Okay? Now you're addressing their hopes and their dreams. You're addressing their pain points. What are some fears that they have? Why are we going with pain? Why are we going with hopes and desires? Why are we going with fears? These are emotional responses. Remember what copy does. It evokes an emotional and a mental response in a person. People are sold by their emotions, and then they make their decisions logically. Later, they rationalize them. That's why you'll see that this part right here is going to deal a lot with the emotion. And then when you get to the pitch at the bottom, and we'll get to that. I don't want to get into that now. In fact, I'm getting ahead of myself. But when you get to the pitch, what you're doing with the pitch is then you're justifying their emotional decision, because they're already, by the time they get to the call to action, they've already made the emotional decision to test your product or try it or whatever. Your pitch is then where you rationalize their decision. And we'll get into that in the next page here. So you get your bullet points. And the best way to get these written out is to find pain points, hopes, fears. Another good one is past failures. This is a good one. There's a something called the one sentence sales or something like that. And really what that is it talks about allaying their fears, justifying their failures, encouraging their hopes and dreams. And it says that if you do these things, if you encourage their hopes, if you allay their fears, if you justify their failures, people will do anything for you. Because you are telling them, you are giving them permission, basically, to have these emotions. You are justifying these emotions. You're saying, yes, internet marketing is confusing as all hell. I want to help you. Here's a product that can help you. Yes, you deserve to quit your 9-to-5 job. Working for someone else sucks and you never get to see your family. Here, this can help you with that. Hey, in the past you've tried and you failed. You've spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours of time trying to do this and you failed. And I know how that feels. It sucks. Here's something that can help you avoid that. You are addressing the emotional parts of that person, and you are going to, this is the part where you actually do the real selling, so to speak, the quote selling. You are speaking to their emotions. That is where they get sold. And then from there, this is where you will build trust and rapport. How are you building trust and rapport? Think about it. If someone came up to you and said, hey, look, I know in the past you've struggled, you've suffered, you've had all these issues. I am right there with you. I know how that feels. Trust me, you have every right to feel that way. How is that going to make you feel? Let's pretend it's a complete stranger. Let's say you go to a meet and greet, and you do a brief intro of yourself, and you say, hey, I'm Bob, hey, I'm John, and you get to a brief discussion, and then Bob's like, yeah, John, I totally get what you're saying. I've been there. I've done that. I know what that feels like. It sucks. You are instantly going to have a moment of rapport with this person you just met 2 minutes ago. That is what we talk about by building trust. Doing these things here. And then, of course, you also need to explain why your product is the hero. Why it's going to come in and prevent their pains and help their fear, and get rid of their fears and help build up their hopes and help them meet their goals. You are making the product the hero. You are simply the sidekick of the hero. You're coming in and saying, hey, look, I found this and it helped me, or this information is fantastic and I've used it to get, tremendous results. And I felt it was my duty to share this with you. This product is out of this world amazing. It's going to help you do whatever you need to do. The product is the hero and you are the sidekick. You are the intro person to the product, okay? So keep that in mind. That's how you build a story, real basically how you build a story. And then, of course, what we do then is we then go to our pitch. Now, there's a few things before you get to the pitch. For longer sales letter, you're going to have things like, content. That, if you're doing a full, big old sales letter, you're going to have content. This is where you build your credibility, or build the credibility of the product. You give them what the product is, and you hint at the, you tell them what the product is, and you hint at the how, but you don't give them the how. The how is the product. You just tell them, look, this is what the product is, this is what it does. Some of the things it can do are this. You might even give them like one or two of the hows, you don't give them the full secret. You give them enough to where they can see the value in the product. Now, some people will incorporate some kind of a transition into the pitch. Some will just go right for the pitch. They'll give them the hook, they'll give them the story, they might give them a little background, they might just go straight into the pitch. The transition is where you switch gears from the emotional to the logical. And it's where you also ask permission for the sale, basically. This is where you go, okay, so I've told you about this product, I've told you the story, we've established a great rapport. Now I want to ask if I can tell you about something that I think is really going to help you. Can I take a moment of your time to tell you about this amazing product that I think would be really a great fit for you? And that's the transition. That's where you ask their permission. And if you think about it, if you spent time building up to it, even in an opt-in page, if you've spent that little bit of time building that rapport, getting them interested, intrigued, allaying their fears, things like that, you've done everything to address the emotional, most people mentally will say, yeah, sure, why not? I got a moment I can spare. And then you transition into the pitch. And this is where a lot of people fall on their faces because they think back to the car dealership, the hard sell. But the pitch is simply just confirming what's already been done. You did the selling up here. You did it with getting them hooked and giving them a story and maybe giving them a little content and showing them what it is and maybe telling them a little bit about what it does. And maybe you even went into a transition where you asked permission, where you basically said, okay, now I want to switch into telling you about something. Can I do that? The pitch is just you saying, now take action. And the pitch is actually the easiest part, in my opinion. And all you do in the pitch is basically you quantify, or you use logic to secure their decision. You say, look, we've already, we've already shown you how this will help you avoid this, do this, do this, do this. Now let me show you some stuff that'll help convince you even further. And you might use, you might use things like discounting. If you're doing a sales letter, discounting. Normally it's, $300 or whatever, but today I'm going to give it to you for a special price of $197. Discounting. You might use testimonials. This is also known as social proof. You might get people in. Who have used the product, and they might provide a testimonial. I loved this. Things like that. And then you build on the value that you've already established. You might do what's called bonus stacking, where you're saying, okay, today if you get this product, not only are you going to get the amazing product, but also I'm going to throw in this ebook that does, whatever. Normally it's, $49.97, boom, free. I'm going to throw in this video course. It does this, this, and this. Normally it's, $89.97. Boom, free. You bonus stack. And then if you're really good, what you'll do is you add up all of the amount of the value of the bonuses, and you'll say, here is what you get today when you do this. Not only do you get the product at the discounted price, you get all these bonuses. Bonus 1, 2, 3, 4. They're valued at a total of, $697 free. And you make them feel like they're ripping you off. Okay? So that's what the pitch is. The pitch is where you use logic. You make it a no-brainer, basically. You've used emotion to establish a rapport with them. Now you're giving them stuff that appeals to their logical side. Because that's how people, if you look at any type of webinar, if you look at any type of sales content, you see this. You see an appeal to the emotional side and then a justification to the logical side. You'll see that in big product launches. The webinar is very emotionally fixed, and then on the product launch, what they'll do is basically they'll sell to the emotional side. They'll get the majority of their buys will be emotional, and then what'll happen is in the following days they'll start to try to appeal to the people who are logical buyers. And maybe in the webinar we're like, this was interesting, but you know what? I'm not sold because I don't really see the value in it, or I don't see how this will work for me, or whatever. Their logical side is still causing them to have some reservations. So then eventually over time you would kind of try to diminish those things. So diminish the logical barriers. That's what's done in these sales letters here. You look for you address the emotional, you secure the sale in the pitch by addressing the logical side of things, providing them proof, discounting, these are all logical based things. Oh, somebody else did this and liked it? That's interesting. Whoa, it's normally this price. I'm getting it for this price. Oh, I'm getting all this stuff. This is what it's all worth. I'm getting, $700 in value for, whatever the discount price, let's just say it's $197, and I'm getting, everything, including the product, for, whatever, $700 less or whatever. Basically, that's where you appeal to the logic. So now what I want to do is I want to take a look at some examples of some actual pages where this is done. Oops, wrong thing. We want to go here. Now, I said I don't edit anything out. So we are at ClickBank. Why are we at ClickBank? ClickBank is a huge affiliate network where product creators, vendors, basically create and host products that affiliates, people who promote products on behalf of the vendors, come in and then decide, pick a product and then promote it to, various people, their lists or whoever. Let's come down to something e-business, e-marketing. And what we're going to do in ClickBank, the reason I like using ClickBank is I want to see some examples of some of these sales pages that these vendors have created. Some of these are going to be video. I don't want a video one. I think this is a video one. I think this is a video one. I want a sales letter one. Let's try to find this. PC View Mobile. Is this video? Oh, this is a video. Well, let's see if I can get... Okay, it doesn't autoplay good. All right, here we go. So we got a script of the video here. All right, take a look here. I don't really like this. Here we go. So let's say, let me just look at this real quick. Claim your done-for-you funnel and make money online in the same evening. Okay, so here's our hook right here. Done for you, easy. Make money online. There's our audience. Same evening, fast. So this incorporates some other aspects of the hook that I think are important. Remember, we want to appeal to pain points or pleasure points within a person. So these are for addressing pleasure points. Done for you is easy. Same evening is fast. And now we have our audience. And also they've added even more. They have a sub-headline here. Proven, meaning it works. 100% free, meaning no cost. People love that kind of stuff. This is my exact formula, how I make passive income and enjoy freedom. Here we go. See, now we're getting into the story. Passive income. I enjoy my freedom. You want to make income and get away from your job. Here's how I do it. You can use my system. Launch an internet marketing done for you. Easy. Get up to 2,000 leads 5 minutes from now. Fast. Just register, and here's the pitch right here. And then it goes to the pitch, and there's our call to action. So this is all right. This is decent. Let me see if I can find something a little bit better here. More of a, let's see here. Mobile. I want to find an actual sales page. A lot of these sites, they like to go to the video sales letter, but I don't want to play a video sales letter. I want to see Fred Lamb. Let's see what this is. Starting from zero. ClickBank. So Fred Lamb, I think he is an e-commerce dude. All right, let's see what this looks like. Discover the 5-step, see there's that odd number again, framework I use to help my students go from zero to selling over a big number of products. Download my audiobook now. So let's break down this hook real quick. I want to take a look at it. So discover, implying that it's some kind of a secret or some kind of something that may not be mainstream knowledge. 5-step, there's our odd number there. Framework, so this is what you're discovering. Help my students go from zero to selling over 31 in products. So the $31 million in products tells me this is e-commerce, some kind of an e-commerce thing. Okay, so that's our audience here. It doesn't specifically say e-commerce students. It doesn't say help my e-commerce students go from zero. It says help my students. But if you know who Fred Lamb is, who I happen to know, and you are able to basically read between the lines here, and if you're selling products, that means you're dealing with some kind of e-commerce, then you know that this is appealing to the e-commerce audience. Master the entire formula, starting from zero. Here's some kind of a video. Here's your call to action. Here he gives you the hook. Here's probably where he gives you the story. This, and then in the story, and in the video, he probably transitions some kind of a pitch. Here's your call to action. Grab your copy, just $1.99. He's been featured. Here's your social proof right here. He's been featured in Forbes, Canadian Business, Inc. 500. So these are some reputable sources he's been featured in. That's our social proof. Here's some more social proof. He's got Robert Kiyosaki, real big deal right here, endorsing the product. Here's a video testimonial of Robert Kiyosaki. So some additional recent proof. So here, he probably addresses some of the emotional stuff to get people excited for this product. Here he appeals to the logical side. Let's take a look here. Proven system. He's got some kind of a counter here. You see is a real-time dashboard of my results. Show you the opportunity in front of you. My proven system and Stott has created 5 millionaires and 30 plus 6-figure earners. Here's some more social proof on the right side. Onyx and Gall right there. Les Brown there. Grant Cardone. Big names in their respective industries. Here's his story here. I started my journey as a dishwasher, 0 experience. So here's the story. Trying to create that rapport. I started in a low-level job. I didn't have any money. Didn't know how to do anything. He's trying to relate to those type of people. He's trying to say, look, I was in this position. I started as a really low position. I had nothing going for me. And then he goes into the story about how he found his first success. You know, Here's some proof. He's made a really big number. What is that? 4 million something or other. See, yeah, about 4.8 mil, something like that. So, you know, here I made 4.5, 4.8, almost 5. Oh, it says it right there. I could have just looked there. 4.8 million bucks. And then the story always has some kind of a failure scenario. Business was going good, but then boom, something happened. I was almost bankrupted, bank shutting me down. He's appealing to your sense of emotion. He's starting out telling you he was nothing, and then he did all this work. He got to something, and then this really bad thing happened. Pay attention. If you really want to know how to get good at copywriting, look for pages. And this one, Fred Lamb is real big, especially in e-commerce. So you know that his copywriting for his pages are going to be on point because he is a really big business owner. He's got a lot of reputable people vying for him, saying that he's the man. So look for pages that are written by these reputable people, because chances are either they or someone they paid a lot of money to write these pages for, they wrote those, so you know that the copy is on point. You can use these as a model and create what's called a swipe file. What's a swipe file? A swipe file is basically, like for instance, if I were going to make a swipe file of sales pages, I could basically do a print screen of these pages, or what I would do, this would be smarter, is I could grab the URL and just paste it into a Word doc, and then I could just go to that URL. The only problem with that is sometimes pages get shut down. So if you find a page that's really good and you want to make sure that you have the copy, you could just copy and paste the text from the page. But if you want to see what the page looks like, the formatting and all the other stuff, you might just want to do a print screen of the page, or just grab the URL if you want to do it. You know, he tells a story, more social proof, more proof here. Today, my 5 system can be used. So I did all this. I accomplished all this. This is all this money. It can be yours. You know, and this is how the system works. And it gives you a little bit of the how. Remember what I said. You give them the what. You tell them what the product is, and maybe give them a little bit of the how. Just enough to where they are convinced that it can work. And it tells you what each of these things are. It kind of breaks it up. It doesn't tell you exactly how the program works. It just tells you some of the steps within the product, a little bit of the how, and it expands a little bit on each of these things to kind of give you enough context to where you can make a decision. And then it's like, I share my entire book. It's only $1.99. It's limited, so it creates scarcity. This is another tactic. This appeals to both logic and emotional, mainly emotional. It appeals to the FOMO mindset, the fear of missing out. You use scarcity. It's available for a limited time. So that's something you can employ. You see a lot of that in a lot of different, whether it's opt-in pages, sales pages, whatever. Available is limited for a limited time. Creates that scarcity, gets people to take action. Here's a sneak peek. A little bit more of the what, a little bit more of the how right here. Just giving you a glance of what you see inside. It breaks down a little bit more of the what and gives you a little bit more of the how. But like I said, you couldn't use what's given here to do this system. It's not giving you enough. There are key components that are being purposefully left out. Keep that in mind. When you're trying to get intrigue and you're trying to provide people with enough content to where they can make a decision, you give them little bits and pieces, just enough to where they could say, that sounds like that might be able to work, but not enough to where they could take it and actually do something with it. You're giving them just enough to make an informed decision. Another call to action. Here we go. Some more social proof. Case studies. Another social proof. Case studies. You know, why is it only $99? Now, here we are. We're justifying the price. This one's a good one. So justifying the price, if the price is really high or really low, this is a really good one. People are like, why are you only selling this for $2? You know, like this program has made 5 millionaires. It's made 36-figure earners. It made you 8 million, 4.8 million bucks. Why are you selling it for $2? And this is where they explain it. And it's going to read something along this lines. I want to get it in the hands of as many people as possible. I want them to become an entrepreneur. I want them to know, I know that's hard. They're appealing to those, those things that I mentioned earlier about fear and failure and worries and pain points. They're addressing the pain points. Why is this audiobook only $1.99? I know it's hard to do. I know it's hard knowing who to trust. That's appealing to a pain point or a past failure. So, I mean, look at this. That way, if you want more training later. So then he even gives you a little more transparency and says, hey, look, I'm going to give you $1.99 so you can see I'm the kind of person that you might want to work with in the future. If you like what you see, there's going to be an opportunity for you to work with me more closely to join a training program that you can bet is not $2. I can guarantee that. And this is how a lot of people earn trust. That, with the opt-in page, your job is to build trust, build rapport. You give them the product to, that has value. And basically say, hey, look, I'm worth listening to. Let me give you something to prove it. This is what he's doing. I want you to have my system, this book, for $2. And then what they're doing is they give you this good content. And then in the future, they're saying, okay, I'm somebody reputable. Here's a $1,200 program that you can get into. That's a very common tactic or strategy, and something you should take note of, because you're gonna want to use this to build your own rapport, because eventually there's gonna come a time. It's easy enough to pitch somebody a free ebook. That's really easy. I'm giving you a free ebook. It's a no-brainer. Take it. But if you're trying to pitch somebody a $1,200 product, in your mind $1,200 is a lot of money. You need to remember that you've already given them free stuff to prove who you are, what you're saying, that you're worth listening to. The pitch is just where you come in and say, hey, look, I'm somebody you can listen to. You can trust me. You've seen what I can do for you. Here is something I think can give you even more. Yes, there's a higher cost, but I'm giving you 1,000 times more value than with the free ebook. I'm giving you all this other extra information. I'm doing this. I have a built-for-you system or whatever. And empower, and then it tells you what else. Empower individuals, simple education, another call to action, zero catch. So now we're mitigating risk. So, 100% guarantee or whatever. So, there's no risk, there's no catch. It's eliminating risk here. You'll love the content. We'll do more together in the future. He tells you his goals. He's transparent. Transparency is very important. You want people to know what your intentions are. Yes, I'm giving you this free ebook. Why am I giving you this free ebook? Because I want you to trust me. And then in the future, I might toss you something that might cost money, and I want you to buy it. Say it, a little more diplomatically than that. Here's where we guarantee. Guarantees are very powerful. Very powerful. Satisfaction guarantee, refund your $2 in 30 days. So eliminate risk is a huge tactic. Remember, that appeals to the logical side. Hey, look, the cost is really low, but I'm going to even do you one better than that. I'm going to give you a 100% guarantee on your $2. For me, in my mind, it would be more trouble to request a refund on $2 and just let them keep it and say whatever. It's $2. I mean, my time is worth more to me than whatever process it would take to get a refund. More social proof, and more and more and more and more and more and more. So, and then a final call to action, disclaimers at the bottom, and so on. So this is actually a really good sales page. I really like this. It has pretty much every element I was discussing previously in it. A pretty decent hook, probably a story and a call to action, and then it basically just goes through that process again. Here it gives you some social proof. Here is another hook. Here is another story. Tells you through a story, and it weaves in some social proofing. It appeals to some emotions. It tries to build the rapport. I can get, here's the system, get it, blah, blah, blah. I won't go through the whole page again, but you see how it works. So this is really good. So like I said, ClickBank is a great place to find some good sales pages. Not every page is going to be fantastic. There will be some people who probably could stand to touch up on their copywriting skills a little bit, but since I know this person is reputable, and since I know the people he's having endorsing him are very reputable, I'm going to trust the quality of this page, this sales letter here, and since it does follow that formula I was laying out earlier. So ClickBank. Go to ClickBank, view the different products and the different niches, whichever niche is appropriate to what you're promoting, and find some good sample pages you can use to model. Remember the basic formula of writing copy. You have your hook, you get your reader's attention, you have your story, you build rapport, and show them why they should, listen to you, why, what's in it for them. And then you have your pitch. You basically, after you've established that emotional rapport, you just confirm the sale. You use some logic, saying, hey, look, do this action. Here's this guy, this testimonial, 100% risk-free. No, there's no risk to you whatsoever. Whatever you got to do. You're appealing to emotion and you're appealing to logic. And remember, the purpose of copy is to get people to take action. You use words to sell. You use words to get people to act. So that is the purpose of effective copywriting. So that's really all I wanted to show you in this video. Just the basics of copywriting. Use ClickFunnels to get some swipes. Like I said, to get your swipes, either do a print screen or grab the URL from the page, add those to your swipe file, and start building a swipe file of samples of copy you can use to model your own copy after, and then you'll there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.